Hey everybody, Mike Miller with the Herald Times, columnist Jeremy Price from an empty Carver Hawkeye Arena. A lot of folks will remember this place pretty fondly the next few years. Wow, that happened.
Yeah, well, something about yellow gyms on the road that equals Big Ten outright championship for Indiana.
Yeah, how about that? We'll get to that in a second because this is obviously with an 81-78 victory over Iowa, Indiana's second outright Big Ten championship in the last 4 years. They won them both on the road, going back to 2013 at Michigan. One of the greatest basketball games I've ever seen. You were lucky enough to be there.
Yes.
That was a great game. This was interesting. I think at times it got a little hairy, and I think a lot of folks back home probably wanted to pull their hair out.
Yeah.
Probably wanted to throw their beers at the TV.
Throw their TV at their beers, whichever.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you either way. A lot going on here. Let's start, though, with a team that has, frankly, the last 2 months responded to the criticism, responded to its own shortcomings, demanded more of itself, and we're here on March 2nd now, and Indiana is a Big Ten championship. They did it on the road. They did it with toughness. They did it with, and here was a game where, it was starting to slip away late. It was at points stacked against them. There was a huge foul disparity, which we can get into. It was kind of rolling against them, and yet they just kind of kicked it away and said, hell with it, we're going to win this.
Yeah, and maybe it's only fitting that this game sort of went this way, that it didn't come easy for Indiana, because this whole year hasn't come easy. But I think you touched on it there. You mentioned the criticism. I mean, the biggest thing is that they tuned it out. They ignored it and stuck with each other and kind of focused on each other and sort of had that cohesion and sense of purpose together. And I think that's what's really driven this team ultimately to its goal, and that's what drove it down the stretch of this game, is that even when the crowd's going crazy, the other team's on a big run, you go from 14 up to 2 down on the road in the last 4 minutes, there was still sort of that inner peace or confidence or whatever that we're going to find a way to do this, we're going to find a way to pull this out, and they did.
Tom Crean said something interesting, said a few interesting things tonight. Among them was, Iowa swung I think, an 11-0 run that helped them tie 70-all, I think, with about 6 minutes left. Mm-hmm. And at that point, Crean says he looks out at the floor, he looks at the bench, guys are looking back at him. All parties, were basically channeling the same thoughts there. We're not going to win this game. We're not going to lose this game. Mm-hmm. We're not going to let this slip away, not after the way we started the game. Shooting the ball, they started shooting the ball. 8 of 11 from the floor, only shot 3 of 11 down the stretch. So even as their long-distance shots abandoned them, even as that bread and butter kind of got away, even as they lost guys, they lost Colin Hartman to foul trouble, they nearly lost Thomas Bryant for fouls. I mean, Yogi Ferrell was battling foul trouble throughout the night. They just kind of refused to let that dictate the way this was going to go.
Yeah, I thought I was talking to Nick Zeisloff post-game, and I thought he had sort of an interesting comment. He just said, whatever happened on the road, these things happen, it's the way it goes, we got to fight through it. And he just said, we just had to find a way to finish the game, to finish the conference outright. Basically, we had to take advantage of the opportunity to finish it. And that's sort of the mindset that this team ultimately had was, it would have been easy to just sort of pack it up and say, well, you know what, we've got a home game on Sunday, we'll just go get them at Assembly Hall against Maryland, Good try, guys. But they didn't do that. This team believed that it could still win this game, and it fought back and sort of counterpunched. And like you said, I mean, so many things going against it, from the injuries to the foul trouble. Juwan Morgan goes down tonight late in the game with another shoulder issue. That's another ball of wax. I mean, there's so many things to get into, good, bad, and indifferent from this game. But just the fact that they found a way with some of the oddest lineups probably we've seen all season from this team in the game at times. Freshmen playing together and 4 bigs and 1 guard, and no Yogi at times with Harrison Niego running the point, and sometimes Nick Zeisloff. I'm not sure if there was a time where Niego and Zeisloff weren't both in the game, but still, just some strange things going on, and they found a way to pull it out of the fire.
And right at the heart of it was, I use heart and soul, Yogi Ferrell, 20 points a game, or team high, 20, I think it might have been a game high. But
this was
a game high. Either way, the most important of them all was that 3 with about 36 seconds left. Mike Gazelle threw his arm out, threw his hand out right in the face, and Yogi said, Tom Crean called it a perfect shot from the footwork, from the form to the release. Yogi Ferrell admitted as he released the shot, he wasn't really sure about it. He had a lot of shots go in tonight, but that one he was a little unsure of. It went in with 36 seconds left, gave IU a 5-point lead, a much-needed 5-point lead, as a frenetic final push from the Iowa Hawkeyes made this one, it made it really, really interesting. It just would not end. The game would not end. You saw how it ended. It did finally end. But once again, you had Yogi Ferrell coming up. And to see this consistently, when Indiana has been in need, it's either Yogi Ferrell stepping up or it's Yogi Ferrell bringing along people with him. I think he did both tonight, and at the most crucial moments, it was him. It was he who carried them. And gosh, at this juncture in the season, looking ahead to the next month with both the Big Ten tournament, I mean, this is what great March teams do. They have great guard play. They have a guy they can point to, and Yogi Ferrell is really fulfilling. He's checking all the boxes right now for Indiana.
Yeah, I guess the thing that stuck out to me about that whole sequence there towards the end was that I believe it was the possession before Yogi hit that three. He had a bad turnover where he got himself in trouble and tried to force a pass to Juwan Morgan that got stolen, and then to bounce back and come back and make that big shot after a play that could have been a downer. Of course, IU dodged a bullet at the other end when they were able to get a stop, but I thought that again just sort of spoke to where this team's at, to where Yogi's confidence is at, and where his maturity is at this year to be able to quickly put one bad play behind him and go on to the next play that needed to be made.
Touched on Juwan Morgan's injury. Don't know a whole lot. That's something that'll have to be monitored over the next few days, just as Robert Johnson's ankle will have to be. Johnson made the trip once again, but yet again he was in street clothes, boot on his left ankle. Morgan, on the other hand, now Morgan has had some lingering injury issues. He had some stuff that I think it was an ankle or foot deal that he got in Maui that kind of slowed down. Really, that's I think really why he never really came to form until about end of January. Yeah. But all year too, he's also had some upper body shoulder, I believe, shoulder stuff that's been kind of lingering at times. I think he's kind of had a harness on for a long. I've been all night as I've been writing. I've been thinking about when we first kind of saw that harness, but I saw him actually during warm-ups. I think he lifted up his shirt to kind of wipe his chin or something, and you could see he still had something on underneath of his jersey. And late in this one, he goes down. We've seen, especially as James Blackman goes down, as Robert Johnson goes down, the willingness and the capabilities and just the overall abilities of everybody to step forward and take on a shared responsibility when it comes to coming through with the necessary productions, the necessary just production presence that they need at times. And I think Morgan, OG Anunoby, Max Bielfeldt, all those guys in that front court have done a fantastic job, even as some around him have gone down. Morgan could be a real blow for this team. What happens with this team if Morgan is out for a long period of time? Well,
I think the big thing here is you look at the situation with Juwan, and it was pretty clearly a shoulder issue. Which, if you're going to have something, I'm sure he's not real thrilled about it right now. But it's better than a foot, ankle, knee kind of thing, and it's obviously something he's gone through before. I don't know if it's a situation where it just pops out and he has to pop it back in, or if there's a little bit more to it than that. It can limit his range of motion, but if he can tolerate the pain otherwise, what he can still do is play defense and rebound. And as long as he can do that, I think he's still of immense value to this Indiana team, even if he's maybe not as comfortable being able to step out and shoot that three, which he's done so well as of late. I think, made it 3-4 straight games now?
I think that's right.
So I think he can still bring something. The tone on Robert Johnson post-game was sort of, you sort of get the sense that he's getting close, and if they... if this was NCAA tournament and they really needed it and this was one-and-done situation, he could probably get out there and give them a little something, but there's no... it's in Indiana's best interest to let him heal as much as possible right now, and even more so after tonight. Now you have the luxury that if you want to give him that other game against Maryland, you can do that, and what you hope to have is something resembling a full squad entering the Big Ten tournament.
Absolutely. Well, as you said, what's next is Sunday, Maryland in town for the regular season finale. Senior Day at Assembly Hall. Yogi Ferrell he will be the headliner of that wonderful annual event, although we haven't had one in Bloomington for about 2 years now. So it'll be a big day, and I'm curious to see the response of this team after an emotional night, after such a fulfilling night, to kind of come back here, end this week, and it's just right there in the middle of things right now. That a game that frankly doesn't mean a whole lot, but really though you need to see some sort of response going into that Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, I think the way the schedule lines up, having 5 days before that one is favorable for Indiana, and then now the pressure is off. That Big Ten title is done. You've got it. You've claimed it. Now you can go home and just celebrate Senior Day and do all those things and be fired up to go out with a win. And you know that you've got fans that are fired up about what this team's accomplished and wants to send them out. And on top of everything else, perhaps the perfect capper to all this, Indiana could cap off a perfect season at Assembly Hall for both the men's and women's basketball teams.
That's amazing. What's also amazing is IU could also have the Big Ten Coach of the Year, both men's and women's. I think Tom Creed has certainly submitted a fine resume.
And one other permutation from this game tonight, I think Indiana has probably overhauled Iowa for a potential number 4 seed in the NCAA tournament, which could likely land the Hoosiers in Des Moines just down the road here instead of Iowa. So that would be interesting and a much more manageable trip than, say, Spokane or Denver or something like that for IU fans.
How do you like Iowa?
I think I'll be spending a lot of time in Iowa, potentially.
Hey, Jared Jeffries is here tonight. Maybe he'll come back, too. That was actually
We'll
really
go
cool
fishing.
Hey, let us go fishing. Right now, though,
Let's go home.
Let's go. I'm just... Guys, we'll see you at home.